This video is about numerical patterns in the divine dreams of Nabeel Qureshi that he describes in his book Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus. Up until last Friday I had never heard of this book, but I visited my parents and I talked with my mother about this channel that I'm running, about the biblical end timeline, about the book that I'm writing, dream analysis that I do on this channel, where numerical patterns seem to confirm the dates that I present on this channel, other people's dreams, dreams that I have myself, where these numerical patterns appear. And she said you should read a chapter of this book that I'm reading. It is called Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus. And I was curious. I opened the book, I started reading, and it started with the vision of crosses and the cryptic dream about the garden and the snake. And then the second dream started with the dream date, 11 March 2005. So that got my attention, because what I've done earlier on this channel, I interpreted numerical patterns in other people's dreams, and often the dream date and or the upload date were relevant in relation to the end time timeline that I present on this channel. So I thought, well, I have a date here, let's have a look at it later. But then in the dream it was about a narrow gate and a feast in heaven, and they were waiting for the host of the feast to start the dinner. And Nabeel was able to look through the narrow gate to this feast, but he could not enter. And his friend David Wood was in the way, and Nabeel could not enter because he did never accept the invitation that David gave him about Christianity. And Nabeel said, I knew this was heaven, but I could not enter. And this was the first time that I read the last name of David Wood. I had read his name several times before, only referred as David. And I knew David was his friend, which guided him into Christianity. But this was the first time I read his last name, so I thought, hey, I have the dream date, I have the birth date of the main character in this dream. Let's have a look at the age of David Wood at the moment of the dream. Maybe there is a clue. And I took my date calculator and I started with the birth date of David Wood, 7 April 1976. And I compared it with the dream date, 11 March 2005, and I found 10,565 days. If you don't know this number, in Hebrew numbers represent letters, letters represent numbers, and the name of God, Yahweh or Jehovah, YHWH, is the numerical value of YHWH is 10,565. So the age of David Wood in days at the moment of the dream literally spells the name of God in numbers. So that was my starting point. From there I made other calculations, and of course the first one was the relation with the third dream, 44 days later, where 44 days is 1056.5 hours. And if we add an extra half an hour, so 1056.5, we get another 10,565 pattern. So I looked into the first dream, the first date mentioned, which was 19 December 2004, and on that particular day, David Wood, so the main character of the second dream, was 7 times 7 times 7 Gregorian months, and 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 days. So you have a trinity of trinities of the number of perfection and completion. Today is 16 September 2024. Nabeel Qureshi died exactly 7 Gregorian years ago. So for Qureshi we do not only have a birthday, but we also have a the day that he passed away. And from the key element, the second dream, he also says that the second dream was most critical for him. In this testimony that you can read below this video, from the second dream about the narrow gate to his death is 90 days short of 666 weeks, where 90 days is 7,777,777 seconds. I think it's a nice layer, but I can imagine that you think the seconds are a bit random. You can if you can choose seconds, you can pick any number. So let's dive a little bit deeper into this. From his testimony, I know that his baptism was a turning point. It was really his second birthday actually in Christianity. So Google learns me a lot. I found that his baptism by David Wood was 23 August 2005, and that was 4,407 days before his death. What I often do is, when I find a number like 4,407, this spells a date. So 4407 is 4 April 2007. So that's the code date between the baptism and Nabeel Qureshi passing away. So when we compare this code date, 4 April 2007, and his death, we find that there are between the code date and 16 September 2017 are 10 years, 5 Gregorian months, and 6 plus 5 days. So there's another 10-5-6-5 pattern. It's also, so the code date is also 589 days after Nabeel's baptism by David Wood, where 589 is not a code date, 5 August 2009 in my European notation. And on that particular day, David Wood, who was born 7 April 1976, was 33.33 years old, where 33 is the number of complete work. I don't make this up. It's from the Divine Code by Pastor Steve Cicolanti, and the number 33 is the number for complete work. This does not only work for David Wood, because Nabeel Qureshi also has double 33s. Qureshi was 9,611 days old. That is 33 weeks short of 333.3 synodic months. So 333.3 synodic months and 33 weeks are 3 sets of 33 next to each other, so a trinity of the number of complete work. At the same time, we can write the 2,964 days between the code date 5 August 2009 and Qureshi's death on 16 September 2017 as 33.3 plus 33.3 plus 33.3 synodic months and 333 hours. So 12 threes in a row, which can be seen as a trinity of double 33s. 3333, 3333, 3333. Of course, it's a little bit juggling with numbers, but I think we're allowed to do that, especially when there are multiple layers upon each other, and we have a starting point with a double 33 with To me, all this is an indication that the relation between David and Nabeel is important, and it points at complete work and probably other messages as well, maybe related to Islam. I don't know. A quick Google search learned me that, for example, in Islam, everyone in heaven is 33 years old, so maybe there's a link. That's for other people to dive into. But I know that my work is about the end time timeline. And at first I hesitated to use someone else's death as a pattern to confirm my theory, but then I realized I started this channel with such a pattern, with the life and death of Ayrton Senna. And more important, I watched Mr. Qureshi's testimony yesterday evening, and the part where he tells about telling his parents that he converts to Christianity. It was so painful for him. Why should I go through this? And then the answer that came to him is, this isn't about you. So I think this might be another layer in the meaning of the life and death of Nabeel Qureshi. Because when I compare the lives of Nabeel and David with my end time timeline, I see patterns as well, and I want to share some of them with you. I have to start, of course, with relevant dates in their lives and my timeline. And my end time timeline has the start of the 70th week of Daniel on 31 March 2026, the Rapture on 10 September 2029, the return of Jesus on 28 December 2035, and the end of the 70th week of Daniel on Passover 2033 on 14 April 2033. So that's in short my timeline, and I think what I often do is my first comparison is with the Rapture date, 10 September 2029, and from Nabeel's baptism until the Rapture date, if we count the first day, so the total number of days, including the first day, is 8,785 days, or 1,255 weeks, where we can split the number of weeks into 1,189 and 66, where 66 is the number of books in the Bible and 1,189 is the number of chapters in the Bible. So to me, the number of weeks between Nabeel's baptism by David Wood, as I said before, and the Rapture it spells the chapters in the Bible and the books in the Bible. The Rapture date as a reference point gives another calculation, because from Nabeel Qureshi's death on 16 September 2017 to the Rapture is 4,377 days. In the American notation, 4377 is April 3, 1977. And between April 3, 1977 and Nabeel's birth are 2200 days, where 22 is the number of the Bible, the Jews, and end time, again according to the divine code. But this day is also, including the first day, 14,777 days before Nabeel's death, where 14 is the number of salvation and 777 is a trinity of the number of perfection and completion. It lines up with David Wood as well, because April 3, 1977 is 11.89 Gregorian months before the birth of David Wood on April 7, 1976, where 11.89 is again the number of chapters in the Bible. And if we take the European notation, the time between the code date for March 1977, so I switched April 3 and 4 March. 4 March 1977 and Nabeel's baptism, this is 7 plus 7 plus 7 and 7 plus 7 plus 7 days short of 7 times 7 times 7 Gregorian months. So it's the same pattern as we found between David Wood's birth and the first vision. That was 343 months plus 42 days, and this is 343 months minus 42 days, but it's the same type of calculation. And if you can decide if we should pick 4 March 1977 or 3 April 1977, we can go to the exact middle, 19 March 1977, because this was exactly 333 Gregorian months before the first vision on 19 December 2004. So a trinity of the number of the Trinity. I think there's more. I was a little bit disappointed that I was not able to find a direct reference to the rapture date or the return dates on my timeline, but maybe there is more personal history between David Wood and Nabeel Qureshi. So maybe there's more, but for now I want to close this video. I think it's amazing that where it started. It's amazing that David Wood, who was not only Nabeel Qureshi's real life friend, but he was also the gatekeeper almost, or the one who explained why Qureshi could not enter heaven at that particular moment in time. He was not only David Wood, he was God 10565 explaining that, or Jesus explaining that Nabeel had not accepted the invitation yet. So the rest of the video were deeper layers, but this is just obvious. It got the reaction of David to Nabeel when he heard about the dream. He said, "This cannot be more obvious." For me, in numerical code languages, the 10565 cannot be more obvious. So if you enjoyed this video, if you want to learn more about Nabeel Qureshi's testimony, again, visit the link in the description, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks for watching.